everyone, this is Becca from Becca's Music Room. I'm a music teacher who talks about teacher tips, teacher life, teacherpreneurs, and all things that might hopefully make your life just a little bit easier. Today we're going to be talking about something that is very important as we get back into the swing of going to school, and that is how to run your online side hustle without losing your mind. If you find this video helpful or interesting in any way, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share so that we can help other teacherpreneurs as well. All right, so we are all very busy people. Some of us have kids, I don't, but some other people have kids or husbands or dogs or cats. We have teaching, we have extra stuff, we have other fun things that we do. Maybe you do tennis, maybe you go to church, maybe you do bowling or trivia nights, whatever. We are all very busy people, as our society as a whole just tends to be very busy. And if you are full-time teaching and taking on a side hustle like Teachers Pay Teachers or a blog or an Etsy shop or anything like that, then you are even busier than that. Those things kind of make you self-employed, and self-employment is wonderful and also not so wonderful, because on one hand you get to choose how much you work, and on the other hand you get to choose how much you work, and that directly correlates with how much money you make, because if you don't make as many products, you're not going to make as much money. You may not see an immediate change, but it will eventually happen. So how do you do all the things that you do with teaching and taking care of people in your house and going and playing tennis or teaching violin lessons or whatever you do and run your online side hustle at the same time? Well, we're gonna get into a couple quick tips to help you out. These are not like a magic formula, but they will help just be a little bit more efficient and get things done a little bit better. These tips are specifically for people who have like a TPT shop, but if you have a blog or an Etsy shop, you can totally apply most of them to that as well. All right, so tip number one, make sure that your work time is doing double duty. So I'm thinking specifically for this tip, if you are a teacher in the classroom, most of your TPT products should be stuff that you're doing in your classroom. Or most of your blog posts should be about stuff you're doing in your classroom. That way you are doing double duty. You might write a lesson plan for yourself and also put it on your blog. So 2 in 1. You might make a game for your students and post it on TPT shop, and then you're doing double duty. This has saved me. Like almost all of the TPT products I have up are things that I have used in my classroom. And that's kind of the point of Teachers Pay Teachers, is that these are things that we are using in our classroom. So they are kid tested, teacher approved, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I feel like we kind of forget that. So normally I will create, if I'm creating like a PowerPoint to go with one of my lessons, I will do what I need for my students first, so that I have that done and ready to go. And sometimes I do that at school and sometimes I do that at home. Then I will take that home, if I didn't do it at home, and I will take it home and I will beef it up, add all the extra things. So I'm not working on my TPT stuff at school, I'm working on my school stuff at school, but then I take that home and I beef it up. I add any variations that need to be done. Like I teach music, so I do everything in stick notation and also regular notation. I don't know what you teach, so I don't know if that applies to you, but just all those extra things that TPT needs that my classroom doesn't, that all gets done at home. But if I spent 30 minutes of my planning period making this PowerPoint for my students, that's 30 minutes that I am saving when I get home that I don't have to do because I already have that part done. So as much as you can, see where you can do overlap, or instead of, planning a lesson and making something for TPT, plan a lesson and put it on TPT. All those kind of things can really, really help. Number 2, remember that your time is more important than your projects. So there's kind of 2 different ways you can look at time. On one hand, you could say, I have an hour, I need to work on something for an hour. Or you could say, I need to work on this project till it's done. If you say, I have this much time to work on the project, you're gonna get a lot more done because you're giving yourself a deadline, and people just work better better under deadlines. On the other hand, if you're like, oh, I just need to work on this, it's gonna end up taking 2 or 3 times as long because you're prioritizing your project over your time. You always wanna prioritize your time over everything else because your time is what you can't get back. You can't be like, oh, well, I'll just take that hour and put it on another day. But you can say, oh, I didn't finish this project, I'll just finish it tomorrow. So make sure that your time is more important to you than your activities. And also remember what is most important. Number 3, you do not have to be perfect. Actually, perfection is not an option because nothing is ever going to be perfect. When you're making products, it can be so tempting to continue to add and add and add and add until your $5 product turns into what ought to be like a $10 product, but no one's gonna buy it for $10, so you still gotta price it for $5. Been there, done that. You do not need to make it perfect. It does not need to have all the perfect everything. Like, yeah, throw some clip art on, but it doesn't need to be like perfectly amazing. When you are under a time crunch, it is more important to get something out than to try to make it perfect. Now, I'm not saying post a bunch of low quality things on your TPT shop, but I am saying that maybe you're spending more time than necessary on it. So try to get the necessary stuff out first, and if you have extra time, then you can add some fun things that make it a little bit more perfect. But remember that perfect is not a real thing, and it's not gonna happen, so don't stress about it. I hate when I see people who get caught up on not posting things because they're not perfect yet. I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It does need to be good, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Number 4, set clear goals for your week. I have read a lot of books about goals and setting goals and all that kind of stuff. I really love, I'll link Brian Tracy's book, Goals, down below, and also Rachel Hollis's book, Girl Stop Apologizing. Those are both really good and talk a lot about goals and setting them and how to achieve them. So what both of them talk about is writing down 10 goals every day. And I've kind of gone on and off. I did this for a while, stopped doing it for a while, started doing it for a while. And right now I think I'm gonna do it just once a week because I'm like, if my goals are the same every day, do I really need to write them down every day? I don't know. Anyway, so I write my goals down in a journal. I write, my 10 goals, and it's everything from things that I want to do by the end of the year to things that I want to do in 5 years to things like being a good wife, which is not something that's going to end at any point. It's just going to kind of keep going. So on top of that, I've started writing down my goals for the week underneath that. So I write, here's my 10 goals that I want to accomplish, and it's got stuff like get my master's degree and things like that. And then underneath it, I write, here's my 4 goals for the week, or 5, or however many I happen to have. And that'll be things like finish this product, or get all my YouTube videos up, or look for this kind of clip art. And it has made a huge difference because now I'm actually focused on, okay, these are the things I need to do, instead of sitting down and being like, okay, I know I need to work on TPT stuff, but I don't know what. The worst thing you can do is sit down and not have a plan. So set some goals for your week of just what you want to accomplish. You could just do 1 goal or 2 goals. That's fine. Just come up with a couple things that you want to get done and make sure you do them. Number 5, find some sneaky times to work. There's a lot of stuff that can be done for your TPT shop on your phone. I personally have Tailwind for both Pinterest and Instagram, and that is one place that really I can get a lot of sneaky work done because I can pull out my phone and I can plan out my Instagram posts or my Pinterest posts in advance and have a whole month's ready while I'm sitting there watching TV on the couch, or while I'm waiting for things to cook in the kitchen and stuff like that. Also, I do YouTube, so I will often edit my videos while I'm cooking, when you're waiting for something to heat up and stuff like that. Any little sneaky thing you can do like that will make a huge difference. If you're doing something that requires a lot of writing, maybe if you're doing ELA passages or a blog or something like that, then you can get the Google Docs app on your phone, and you can write on your phone all the things that you need to write. You could even use the speak to text so that you can just talk to your phone and it'll write it down for you. And then you can copy and paste it to your blog post or to your product or whatever you're making that needs a lot of writing. Those are easy ways you can get just a little bit of work done, you know, if you're standing in line at the grocery store or stuff like that, where it's like you don't have a lot of time, but you can get a little something done. And 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there will eventually start adding up and will make a huge difference. Number 6, some of my favorite things. Make sure you have routines and habits with your work. So first of all, make sure you have time to work, whether that means that you work at the same time every day or you work for 4 hours on Tuesday or whatever you do. Make sure you have time to work and then have established systems and routines. So for me, on Mondays, I sit down and write my blog posts, and then on Tuesdays I edit it, and on Wednesdays I do my graphics, and that ensures that I am able to get my blog posts out every week, except right now because I'm filming this in July and I don't do them during the summer. But the point is that I have those routines, so I don't sit down on Monday and say, what am I gonna do? I don't know, what should I do? Because that is just gonna waste your time. Even right now, it's summer, and so I have been getting up and I've been having a really nice morning routine where I get up, I drink some water, I eat my breakfast, I read my Bible, and then I work. And I have like, on this day I need to get all my YouTube videos up, and I just have different things I allot to different days to make sure that they are going to get done. I also have other routines, like either at the very end of the month or the very beginning of the month, I go through all of my monthly planning. I go through all of my money and make sure I know where it's going, where it's coming from, what I've got, so that everything's ready once tax time comes. And I film all of my YouTube videos. Like seriously, I'm sitting down and filming like 8 of them. It's gonna be a really long day. But that really helps me because then I have that system or that routine down, and then I don't have to worry about it the rest of the time. And it is just a really easy thing. So anywhere you can come up with a system or a routine to just make your life a little bit easier. The more habits you form, because systems and routines are habits, the less you have to think about them. That's the wonderful thing about habits, is once you have it down, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to decide that you're gonna do something because you just already know you're gonna do it. And that makes it much better because you clear your head for other things. And the last one, this only applies to some people, but remember, it's not your main job. If this is your side hustle, then treat it like a side hustle. Yes, treat it like a business. Yes, be professional. Yes, do your best. But remember what is the one that's actually giving you the paycheck. So right now, my teaching gig is giving me a lot more money than my Teachers Pay Teachers store is. And I try to remember that. You know, one example of just having this reminder is that I work on my blog in the morning, but I can't go overtime because if I go past 6:30, then I won't have enough time to get ready and get to school. So that's one area where I always have to remind myself that teaching comes first and then all of my side hustle stuff. This is also important if you are like really stressed out and just have a lot of work to do for your full-time job. Get that done first because it's your full-time job. It's the one that's really paying the bills. So make sure that you do that. And it also gives you a little bit of grace if you can remember, like, this is just my side hustle, because you can treat it like that and be like, okay, if I don't get everything I need done this week, it's okay. I know, I just told you that you need to get all these things done. But if it comes to your sanity or getting things done, always pick your sanity. Always pick your full-time job. So I'm curious, what would you add to this list? What helps you run your online side hustle without losing your mind? Let us know down in the comments. I hope you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share so we can have other people as well. And have a wonderful, wonderful week.